Hello everyone, I am Erika of beadingschool.com and you are watching Coffee Time with Erika. Often I say that beaded motifs that we create can be everything that you want. Earrings, pendants, necklaces, brooches, bracelet. And I dare to say that it is pretty easy to do that magic. Often we work with square-shaped or rectangular motifs. Even circles are fine, even triangles. But what if we are working with more challenging shapes? How do we finish our beady weirdos? Today, ladies, I would like to invite you to talk about finishing our beady weirdos, as I started to call my irregularly shaped beaded items. But before we would start, please let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me. I see Rita, Jessica, Robin, Namrata. Judith says, I'm glad I could make it today. I'm glad that you are here, Judith, and everyone else. Ellen, Angelina, Lita, thank you so much for letting me know that the sound and the video are both all right. Linda, Antoinette, Malia, Iveta, Marta, Sherry, Corinne is also here. Cindy, Irene, wonderful. Thank you so much, ladies, for being here. So today we are going to talk about finishing beady weirdos, beady irregular items. I think I mentioned you that I have an upcoming vacation. So from Thursday, I will be off for about a week, a little bit more, to wind down, to chill, to get out of my usual surroundings, to see beautiful new places, and to get inspired, of course. But before my plane would take off, of course, I need to prepare well for the time off. It means that these are busy days, as you can see on the picture. This is a day when I need more than enough coffee, more than my usual amount of coffee. We had some extra team meetings to make sure that everything is on a good track. We needed to discuss some upcoming beautiful projects with Veronka, also with the creatives. And after I finished, well, already today, I actually started the day with a workout. I went to see my therapist. I had 3 meetings, and then I thought it is time to chill. And what is the best way to relax and to take your mind off from the tasks a little bit? Of course, it is to bead. So in a very little time, I actually came up with a beaded motif from the new Beading School Academy theme box, the Lakeside Poetry. But the shape is, well, out of the usual range that I make, I would say. So today I would like to brainstorm together with you that what could this little motif become. I still see all the possibilities that I have mentioned. It can become anything I would like it to be, but maybe it is a little bit trickier because it is not as straightforward as joining straight sides of a square, for example. Corinne is, I'm going to Bulgaria, to a little countryside town of Plovdiv. So I'm very curious. There is nature, ancient Roman ruins, and they say good food and good coffee. So I am ready. So many motifs that we bead together, they are super easy to finish. And for example, we had Susie's silent waters here last week, and she gave us so many different ideas for finishing it. I really value how much effort she puts into even creating this last page of the tutorials, where you can see ideas of finishing the jewel. But would you like to see my beady weirdo that I created today between the last meeting and between going for another coffee, because I really need it to? So I hope you're curious. I hope you're excited. Cindy, thank you so much for the well wishes. Also Corinne and everyone. So this has become my beady weirdo. Not like the most challenging shape, but it does not have as many attachment points, and it does not as usually, and it certainly does not have a straight line to easily finish it off. So today I would like to invite you to see this beaded motif, to check it out in my graphic design program, and to brainstorm together about the possibilities. They don't need to be super complicated, but I'm curious how you would work with my beady weirdo. Cindy says, I love the colors. Thank you so much. The colors of the Lakeside Poetry. I am still playing with the Lakeside Poetry Beading School Academy theme box, so these are part of my leftovers. Angelina says, there aren't enough beady weirdos out there. We need more beady weirdos. And recently I had a discussion with a friend, and we agreed on it that if everyone would embrace their weirdness, then the world would be a happier place. So let's embrace our weird selves, and let's embrace our beady weirdos together. So let me switch to my graphic design program. I really hope that it will work out well. It's not the weirdest shape I have ever created, but it does not have straight lines, so that's why I dare to call it a beady weirdo. So let me see. And please, please, please keep me every finger crossed that it works. It seems to work. Let me know, please, if you can see my graphic design program. And Susan says, I love the beady weirdo. Thank you so much, Susan. And Malia says, I love being the weird one. So good, Malia. We should all love ourselves with our strength and with together with our weaknesses and weirdnesses. So, a little while ago, or not so little while ago, quite some time ago, we played in the same way with another motif. This also came from a Beading School Academy theme box, one of the first, the Jewel of the Maharaja. And then we brainstormed together that what kind of beaded jewels can we create if we add something to it. And today I would like to do something similar with this irregular shape. For comparison, why do I call it a beardy weirdo, even if it's not so weird? If we compare it, this is the result of the live design session that we had a week ago. So as you can see, indeed, I am working on a tutorial. The drawings are already done. So for comparison, I wanted to show you that when we are working with a square shape, then it's so straightforward to join more motifs into a bracelet. It's just, you can already see that, for example, you can join to each other the size 11 round seed beads on the corner, or for example, if you would like to create a beaded necklace, then all you need to do is still just keep connecting the sides of it, and you could create a beautiful statement necklace. So when we are working with square shapes, then it's so much more easier. However, today I am curious about your ideas about this shape. So I deliberately added some cylinder beads, Miyuki Delica beads on the sides to make it easier to connect motifs to each other. However, as you can see, here we have an angle, for example, so there we need to create a trick to make it possible to join to each other. So are you up for the challenge? Will you help me out, dear ladies? I also see Ariane and Lita says that playing with the Jai Salmer was actually her very first coffee time. And Susan says it would make a gorgeous statement earring, and Miriam is here. And Anita says it's boring to be normal and alike. Absolutely. Let's embrace our colors and weirdnesses. So in the same way as we played with Jai Salmer, then first, let's think about the possibilities if we have only one motif. Can we create a brooch? Can we create a hair clip? Can we create a ring maybe? Can we create a simple necklace? A simple pendant? So if it would be a pendant, what's your opinion? How would you create a necklace from this? Would you turn it horizontal or vertical? Would you add something to it? I'm curious. I think that it could be made both ways. Also horizontal, also vertical, but of course the effect would be different. If I would like to create a pendant and turn it vertical, then I could use this Miyuki Delica bead here, and then I could add beads from both sides of the Miyuki Delica bead to complete the necklace. What do you think, ladies? In this case, would you still add, for example, a drop at the bottom, or would you leave it as it is? I am curious. Would you like a pendant on its own like this? Or would you, are you still missing something? And in the meantime, I'm reading Ariana's comment, and she says, the first idea which came in my mind, maybe start a prismatic right angle wave band on each end of the chaton bezel and create a bracelet. And that is such a good idea, Ariane. And when I was thinking about one motif only, then for some reason I did not think about creating a bracelet, but indeed it would be absolutely possible. So I know that this is not what you wanted to suggest, but for example, it would also be possible to keep adding bezeled cabochons and then to switch to the pearls, for example. So even with one motif, we could make also a beautiful beaded bracelet. So I don't see your opinion about the pendant, if you would still add a drop, or if you would be happy with it, how it is. So for me, if I turned the motif horizontal, then I would probably leave the motif as it is. However, if I wanted to create a pendant while turning it horizontal, then I would probably also add a pendant drop at the bottom, a glass drop in a metal setting, or maybe a glass pendant. To do that, here it is so you can see it better, I would need to add some seed beads over the bicons in between the rondelles. It would be basically on both sides, on the top and also on the bottom. So that is certainly a possibility. But what if? And the same would go for earrings. And in that case, I would also suggest adding some pendant drops at the bottom, even in the case that I would turn it vertical. It differs for me from placement as a pendant, because I really love long pendants. Oh, I did not see your comments. I see how many comments you wrote. You are amazing, ladies, and I did not see anything from it. Oh, you're amazing. I didn't see anything. So let's see. And Jessica says, add pearls to the left chaton and the left navet. Let it hang sideways and add a drop or key from the bottom right navet. Okay, let's see. Let's make this happen. I felt so lonely, ladies. So, pearls to the left chaton. On one side to the chaton and on one side to the navet. So it would, I'm trying to create this asymmetrical look. And I love it, Jessica, because I was thinking only about two possibilities, the horizontal or vertical, but there are indeed so many other possibilities. And then indeed you could hang even something else here, for example, to balance it out. Then Didi says, a beaded bead cylinder shape to connect and balance with a beaded tassel for a fun necklace. And Christine says, I love the horizontal signs with a long drop for a pendant. So like this one, but let's make the drop longer. Ariana says, if you have no idea in the end, you can always stitch it into a filigree with ultra sweet base and create a brooch or a magnet. Ariana, I love your magnet collection, by the way. And indeed, let's say that this is a big filigree. And indeed, it would be very possible to stitch the motif to a filigree or ultra sweet. Cindy likes both the vertical and the horizontal option. Lita likes the horizontal. Then Cindy Didi likes vertical. Yeah, I read this. Marta asks, what is the length of the motif? Let me see. So it is 4 centimeters, so a little bit under 2 inches. Now, thanks to Ariane, I think of magnets for a single beautiful jewel. Indeed, a jewel for your home, a jewel for your flat. Then Anita says, for a bigger necklace, it could be fun to take 3 of the motifs and arrange the point sides so it looks like a leaf. Love the idea. Let's try to do that, Anita. So here we have one motif. Here we have another motif. At least you ladies also see how it looks like to work in the graphic design program. A little bit. So here would be the 3 leaves, and maybe I would add a bezeled cabochon in the middle, so it would be easier to connect them to each other. And then I have a feeling that I would like to hang a pendant drop from the middle. How do you like this, ladies? Linda says, since you have 2 circular motifs on either side, you could make 2 separate bezeled motifs and your large motif in a V shape. 2 separate bezeled motifs and your large motif in a V shaped, also possible. Nancy has joined us, and Miriam says, leave it as it is, but with a beaded hanger. Absolutely, that's also possible. And Robin is asking, would that put too much weight on the Delica? Delica beads are actually pretty strong. They withstand a lot more than expected. So I would not shy away from Delica beads to each other. Nancy says, I like adding drops to extend the beauty of the design, but not a large drop so it doesn't overpower the original design. And this is again like a very personal choice. I totally understand Nancy's option. And for me to create like a longer line, maybe to like visually make me longer, taller. I love earrings with long drops. So it's a very personal matter. And Cindy says, I would also like to see the chain by using a cup chain to make it a little different. And Sherry says, it would be good with or without a drop. I do like it as it is. Ariane agrees. I would leave it as it is because I think it is a drop on its own. And Miriam says, no herringbone bezeled caps in a bracelet with too much stretch. They will distort. Absolutely. I would include the square stitch bezeled or peyote bezeled ones. Marcelina would also use it without a drop. Malia too. And Corinne says, I would use the 2 lateral bicons on the lower side of the cabochon, vertical pendant, to attach bezeled components. And good catch that there are bicons. And I made the picture very hastily, so it's not actually visible, but I was visible well, but I was also trying to add some seed beads on top of the navettes, also for more possibilities to connect. And Beatrix is here. Good to see you. And she says, for the vertical pendant, I would put one of our beautiful beads, or better, a big metal connector, put the chain beads, and leave the pendant as the drop. And Nancy says the drop would only be used if it's vertical. Yes, I apologize. I didn't see anyone's comments for a while. Ellen would also use a beaded bail at the bottom. And Malia says, it kind of reminds me of the square from Jardin Majorelle. And Susan says, I love all the different ideas. It shows how versatile this design is. And what I absolutely love, ladies, that even if it is an unusual shape, in no time you came up with so many beautiful ideas. I love it. Didi says, this proves that even when something looks weird and you actually design, it becomes amazing. And Loretta likes both. And Angelina says, I would attach it to a triangular filigree vertically and suspend several small drops of the filigree like a fringe. Several small drops. I like that. And you say that you can't hear me? Can you hear me now? Corinne says, I love the 3 components together. Lovely ladies, can you hear me now? Please let me know. Oh, and Ellen says, I would join the top parts, not the bottom. Okay, Kata says that she can hear me on Facebook. Then it seems that if you still can't hear me on YouTube, then unfortunately it is a YouTube problem, and that I can't repair. So turning it around as Ellen suggested. Oh, that would also be great. And adding the pearls. Like this. Okay, and Namrata says, yes, I rebooted and now I can hear and see you well. Okay, wonderful. And Joy says, if it becomes heavy, make it into a bead embroidery necklace. And that is also a wonderful idea indeed to solve a technical challenge. So lovely ladies, to summarize this, we were thinking about pendants. We can turn the pendants in many different ways, not only vertical and horizontal as I suggested in the beginning, but we agreed that both are aesthetically pleasing. Some of us have a preference of one, some of us have a preference of the other, but we seem to have an understanding that the horizontal one works better with a drop, with the addition of a drop, than a vertical one. Then, even if we only have one motif, we can turn it into a bracelet, we can add bezeled cabochons, we can add pearls. So there are possibilities. And of course, we also have the possibility to create a bracelet from several motifs. Then earrings, absolutely possible, with or without drops, with or without additional components. I loved Anita's idea of turning the motif into an angle, so it becomes asymmetric, and connect the necklace straps in a different way, and then adding a drop in the middle to even it out. Always it's a possibility to add a filigree, a brooch base, a hair clip, that ultra suede. Always easy. I'm absolutely in love with the idea of joining more than two components, more than two. When we have three, then we can join them in at least two ways. And a bezeled cabochon might help to make the joints. We can also add a pendant at the bottom or not if we don't like to. And of course, then an easy bracelet. So, lovely ladies, as you might expect, I am not the only person and only beader who sometimes beads unusually shaped designs. And lovely ladies, I have something here, something else, not from the Lakeside Poetry box, that was created by one of my friend's designers. And I'm also very curious how you would arrange these beautiful components. How do you like this beautiful shape created by lovely Ruxandra Puskás. I'm curious. And Ruxi surprised me very, very much with this beautiful design. And I am so incredibly happy that I can get inspired by her. Angelina says, stunning. Robin says about the previous mind that she loves the 3 components. Marcelina says, so unique. And Cindy says, oh my, that is beautiful, Ruxandra. Linda says, love the fan shape. Ruxandra has beautiful designs. Lutka says, amazing. And Ingrid says, I am fainting. These earrings are gorgeous. Can you spot what kind of beads did she use? Because she even reached for a shape that we don't use that much. And I am very happy about that because it's an absolutely amazing shape, but we did not utilize it as much as we need to give attention to it, in my opinion. Miriam already spotted, and Marcelina also spotted that Ruxi indeed used mobiduos. So lovely ladies, this design is called Where the River Grows. So next month it is Earth Day, and a little while ago, just a few days ago, we have actually celebrated a day called World Water Day. And the River Grows collection was born to be dedicated to these 2 very important days, to give attention to our whole beautiful earth and also specifically to water. So with Ruxandra's design and the collection that she was working with originally, you can get ready to celebrate Earth Day in April already in advance, and also to remember the World Water Day. So I would like to show you what's inside this beautiful little collection that Ruxi worked with. There is also a cabochon that she didn't use and a few more beads, and I am pretty much in love with that cabochon. So I will also take this on my vacation, and I hope to have a little bit of time to enjoy it. So let's see. I would like now to switch to my hand camera. Hopefully it will work. Not for now, but let me refresh. Okay. Now it should be fine. So this is the motif that I created, and I would like to show you what's inside the Where the River Grows collection. So lovely ladies, please let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me well. I had a little bit of trouble with the camera recently, so hopefully it works now. So this is the collection. Okay, Jennifer says that she can hear me and see me, and Kata also says that all is good. Thank you so much. So let's see the collection dedicated to water. And actually the idea came to me because I realized that several of the Beading School Academy themes that we are going to work with this year, they are connected to water, different representations of water in the world. So this goes hand in hand with those sources of inspiration. So this is what you can see when you open your box. And first, I would like to show you a pair of earrings that, in my opinion, goes so perfectly together with the shape that Ruxandra created. It's called the leaf leatherback earring, and it looks like one of nature's wonders on its own. 3 little leaves branching out from a bigger crystal, all the leaves adorned by more cubic zirconia, and then in the back a loop where you can attach beaded motifs. And I am wondering if this very pair of earrings was the one that inspired Ruxandra's whole creation, because it looks so very much in alignment with it. Then, and in the box we have more than what Ruxandra used, a lot more. So in case that you would like to get it, then you will have leftover beads, shapes, colors that you can use to create your own beady weirdo. We also have here a bag of 6mm Preciosa Chaton Montes in smoked sapphire in a gold-colored setting. I am very much in love with smoked sapphire lately. You might have noticed it also with the Preciosa rondels included in the Lakeside Poetry Beading School Academy theme box. Ruxandra reached for the smaller version of the Chaton Montes because there is also a bag of 4mm Chaton Montes crystal in silver setting available in the box. And we have a shape here that I see lots of potential in, and it is a 5x15mm Princess Baguette glass cabochon, in this case in blue zircon, and it also comes with some metal claw settings to make it easy to connect the cabochons to each other, to include them in designs, or simply as connectors between beaded motifs. So the cabochons come in this little protective box, and this is blue zircon. Angelina says those baguettes are stunning. Loretta says love them, and Irene finds the finding stunning. Oh, imagine an earring with one of these princess baguettes. Okay, this box is coming with me on vacation. We actually also have a little friend, a river turtle, inside the box. So it is a turtle charm that you can include in your creations. And Joyce is asking, are there 6 claws for the 6 navettes, 6 baguettes? And let me see. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. I missed the number, but indeed there are 6 metal claw settings included here in the box. Then we also have here a bag of fire polished beads. Linda loves the turtle in crystal smoky metallic ice. And here are indeed the mobiduos in crystal vitriol foil that Ruxandra used in her beautiful pair of earrings. I do not dare to call it a beady weirdo because it's so beautiful, but it is a very unusual shape that we can learn from a lot. I love, by the way, that she includes the negative space in it also, above the bezeled cabochon. And I'm in love with the straight lines of seed beads around the pearl in the top part. So here are some of the seed beads, Miyuki size 15s in 2 colors, spice and light matte opaque light olive luster that Ruxi used both. At the bottom, we have an 8mm Preciosa Nacre cabochon in pearlescent pink. Pearlescent pink was custom made only for beading school beaders, and unfortunately, in the meantime, the nacre cabochons were discontinued, so we have only our last batches that we can include in our jewels in some of our collections. I asked my dear colleagues to put this aside already for the Earth Day and the Water Day box, because I wanted to create. I don't only just like unusual shapes, but I also wanted to bring to life a collection of color that is beyond what we would automatically imagine with a collection to dedicated to celebrate nature. And Irene says Ruxandra is the queen of negative space. Then we also have here one of my absolute favorite Delica colors, a metallic dark copper gold iris. It has a beautiful deep shade, and it goes so well, for example, with the pearlescent pink cabochons. One of the most luxurious items, not the only, but one of the most luxurious items in the collection is a bag of size 11 Miyuki seed beads in bright sterling plated. So it means that these Miyuki beads, they are plated with real silver. And when I chose this, then I imagined how on the waves of a river, when sunshine is glittering, then you can see sometimes the water as if it has been silver. We also have here a bag of true to fire polished beads called chalk white travertine. Oh, Namrata says, my daughter would love the turtle. Then very much needed for Ruxandra's beautiful earrings, a bag of 3mm Preciosa bicon beads in emerald 2x AB. And then I have here 3 more components. I have here a Neumann clasp in case that you would like to turn the motif into a necklace. It's a Neumann clasp with a crystal, a fishhook one, because even in this unusual shape, I can also totally imagine Ruxandra's motif as a pendant hanging vertically, and instead of the earring component, attaching strands of seed beads and then closing the necklace with this Neumann fishhook clasp in the back. Another idea, by the way, that I had when I was looking at the motif is that it would also be possible to use one of the bezels of the nacre cabochons in the middle and then attach 2 of the rest of the motif 2 times to the bezeled cabochon. So it would be like a V-shaped necklace with one bezeled one peyote bezeled nacre cabochon in the middle. What do you think about that? Then I also have here, this was used for the top parts, 8mm glass beads in Catalina blue. And the last item, the very last one in the box, you could see a glimpse of it. It is a handmade, hand-painted cabochon from Germany, a 20x40mm oval in vitriol light matte. This cabochon has a flat back, so it's easy to bezel. It has a great angle, not too tall, so we don't have to include too many rows of peyote, for example. But we can also glue it to fabric and turn it into a bead embroidered piece. This matte vitriol light is a rare finish, and I wanted to bring in a bit unusual colors to this collection to represent the magic of water. Joyce says, I can't find the box in the bead shop. Dear Joyce, let me help you, because I have a feeling that my dear colleagues already took care of it. Linda says, beautiful cab. Angelina says, stunning cabochon. Linda says, love vitriol light. Jennifer says, I love its inner glow. And Loretta also finds it absolutely gorgeous. It is a beautiful piece. And it should also appear in the new in the bead shop section. For some reason it doesn't show up, so I'm asking my dear colleagues to bring it up to the front. so our beaders can find it easily. So lovely ladies, what kind of other possibilities do you see with Ruxandra's irregularly shaped earrings? I do not dare to call it a weirdo, but I think we can agree on it that it is not one of the shapes that we would see on an everyday basis. I am also curious about your ideas, how you would use this beautiful cabochon with the inner glow. My instinct and my itchy fingers are taking me towards bead embroidery. So I would probably glue it down to ultra suede, and it would also be interesting to include the princess baguettes. And Angelina says, I always consider the word weirdo as a compliment. I agree, Angelina. I agree. And Loretta says, a necklace and a cap, definitely. Bead embroidery. And Lita says, multiples in a circle on a large filigree. And I love that idea. I'm also thinking about it, that it would be possible to attach, of course, the cabochons into the claws and then start attaching the inner holes together and then, of course, joining the outer holes of the cabochons. So there are many, many, many possibilities waiting for you with the Where the River Flows box. Lovely ladies, I would like to, Where the River Grows, I would like to thank you for your company today. It was very lovely to play with you together and to brainstorm about my weirdo. And I hope that you will have lots of fun. I wish you lots of fun during the rest of the week. Susie, Andrea, and the rest of the team will take good care of you. And this week, on Thursday, we will have an offline No One Has to Be Alone workshop. It's going to be Vicky's Poetry in Motion. And then for the weekend, we will have a fun game coming up for you. And it will start on Friday at 5 p.m. Central European Time. And it will end on Monday at the same time. So I promise it will be fun. And Judith has another idea for Ruxandra's earrings. She says, without the ear wire, you could turn it upside down and place the ear wire on the pink cabochon end. And that would also work very well, in my opinion, Judith. Thank you so much for the well wishes for my vacation. Ladies, someone knows our traditions. Robin says, thank you, Erika, and thanks everyone for the great ideas. It really helps me when trying to decide how to finish my jewels. And I will make some screenshots of our ideas, and I will ask Susie to post it for you, so you remember what we have been talking about. And thank you so much for all your sparkly bead orders. Thank you so much for the company, and wishing you a beautiful rest of the week. Thank you, ladies. Happy beading. Bye-bye.